Hello and welcome back to Devils United. This is the match reaction for Leicester and Atalanta. Hello everyone and welcome to Devils United. I've got 4-2 over there. I've got Dan with me and I've got Talk MU. How are we all, everyone?
I'm pretty good, Maisie. How are you?
Very happy.
I'm not happy with that notepad over there.
Oh, dear. Chris
I
is
can't
making
get it up. I can't stick it up. I shall pop it up every now and again.
Yeah. It's an age thing, Chris. It's an age thing.
Listen,
Don't you, I did that Vaseline.
We've got to allow Chris. We've got to allow Chris's moment. Like, we can't deny him that because they were deserving of it. So
it was.
I'm not going to try and deny him that.
Can't argue. I mean, I'm not being big-headed here, but we were the better team. Obviously, we won 4-2, but you wouldn't think that the press thought we turned up. Because all they talked about were how bad Man United were. And I didn't think you were that bad in the first half, to be honest with you. But I just think it's totally it's not all about Man United. When Man United lose, there is another team in the game. But Sky and all the big six arse-licking, media outlets forget that there's another team in these games. And that's kind of why you get Leicester fans doing this and shouting out when we do actually get a win. We've only beaten you 4 times in the Premier League. I mean, there was a 5-3, obviously, and there was a 4-2. So they're pretty big wins when we do, but we don't get the praise we deserve. As indeed, in fairness, would say Burnley if they beat you or any other club. It's never about that club. It's all about United losing or Liverpool losing or whatever. And it just annoys us, shall we say?
Do you know what? The reason why that is obviously because we bring that on ourselves because we have been so successful in the past, right? That's all it is. It's just it's always going to be that way. I can't remember who said it, but somebody said all they can talk about is United. Even though there's other things going on, they can only talk about United. So yeah, it is what it is on that front.
It's not you guys. It's not you.
No.
It's the media.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, like I say, we've done when Burnley beat us. Was it last season 2-0? Was it last season?
Season before, I think.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago, I think. Yeah, was it during the lockdown?
Yeah, I can't remember when was it.
No, anyway. There were fans instead. Hold on, no, it might have been during lockdown. Yeah, it was one of the probably the 2 or 3 games into when fans were allowed back in, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think Burnley got the credit they deserved in that as well, to be fair. But like I said, the thing is as well, though, it's like what you're saying, Tom, is pretty much that as much as it's media that are saying it all, obviously the history of Manchester United is there for everyone to see. We all know it. It's just that the fact of now, when they think that it's going good, as soon as a little mishap like that happens, it's not a case of, you'll get the odd person in the studio that goes, let's not take the shine off the fact that Burnley did this or Leicester did that. But the majority of the conversation is about how do Man United pick themselves up from that defeat? How do Man United get going again? And to be fair, I mean, obviously, I know we're going to speak about 2 games, but to go from that defeat against Leicester to how it started against Atalanta to then how it ended, clearly was the pick me up that you needed.
Did anybody watch Monday Night Football on Sky? No. Because they did. Of course, they talked about Man United because Sky can't talk about anything else, like you said, it's all about Man United. But in the whole discussion about that game, Leicester had one sentence mentioned about them. Now, why am I paying Sky 20 quid a month to watch what is essentially Man United television or top 6 television? And like I say, it's not the club's fault, but you are a big club. You do get the viewers in, which is what Sky want, because that's how they make the money. But, there are 16 other clubs, 14 other clubs in the league that kind of deserve a mention every now and again.
That's why I don't watch the beginning of the games. I'll watch it when it comes to a point where it shows probably about 2 or 3 minutes prior to kickoff, where they're showing like a team lineup and stuff like that. Because it could be someone really shit, like Burnley against Norwich or something on TV. But yeah, all they'll talk about is how Mo Salah was on all cylinders last weekend. Is he going to perform again this weekend? Ronaldo's moved to Man United, and you're thinking, you've spoken enough about that shit. Why can't you actually do your research? Yeah, I don't know if you heard.
No, when did that happen?
Yeah, he's still got that little front haircut as well. That little face up front.
I must have missed that. Don't think Sky hardly mentioned it. I haven't seen that. Bloody hell!
You must have missed it. Midst of Leicester's training ground and the Newcastle takeover. It was somewhere in between there, anyway.
Jesus, that's another story and all, isn't it?
I was on the Man United agenda, I think it was, or I can't remember. It was a Man United channel, and I dared to say, and it was on Rich's channel. It was Rich's channel Sunday night, and I actually dared to say that pre-Alex Ferguson.
You mean Monday morning?
You're saying it goes on a long time, but no, I think I dared to say that before Alex Ferguson, that Man United were not the biggest English club or British club, that it was Liverpool. And I got absolutely slaughtered by one guy in particular, who apparently is a Swansea fan, so I don't know what he was doing anyway. But it was like, a lot of, how many Man United fans were born before Alex Ferguson took over? At least only half of them at the most. And it's hard to imagine that, the centre of the footballing world does not centre around Man United all, since eternity. And Liverpool were the bigger club. And Man United at that point were a bit like, and this is what the context I used it in, and it wasn't a criticism, but it was that when Liverpool were winning everything, the Shankly, Paisleys, Evans era, Man United would go out and buy players simply because they were big names, with no thought of whether they would fit into the system, of how they would, how they would play, whether the right player. Oh, he's a big name. We'll buy him, stop somebody else getting it. And that's why for so many years, I think they won a couple of FA Cups and that's all. Kind of
City is sort of doing that now.
Yeah,
City are doing that now, where they're just buying a player in form.
Yeah, it sounds to me like that's what Man United are doing at the moment. Did you really need Ronaldo? Did you want Ronaldo, or was it purely to stop Man City getting him?
To be fair, when you look at what Man United fans were saying as well prior to Ronaldo, prior to him signing, probably last season, you'd ask the question, would you have took Ronaldo back? And a lot of them would have said, no, not really. I think, he's had his heyday sort of thing. But, you can't write somebody off. Sometimes, we've had 2 or 3 players that have come back and they've been, pretty decent when they've had 2 or 3 stints. So, sometimes you're a bit like, is it going to work the second time? Look at the managerial situation with West Ham. It didn't work out for David Moyes the first time, but Christ, it's worked out the second time.
Well,
it's all about chance. Yeah, it's all about chance. And I think as well, the Ronaldo signing was to appease the fans, sort of stop all the Glazer talk, and that's it.
Also, Dan, I think about it this way, because look, we haven't won the title now for how many years is it? 9, is it? 10? I don't know.
You're after Liverpool's record.
Right, I know. And you know what? You have Manchester City, the noisy neighbours who won the lottery. They then now become the team, like the better team in Manchester at as it stands, because they're the ones who have been winning. So that hurts massively, not just the club but the fans. Then it comes out that one of our greatest ever players is possibly going to go to Manchester City. When we're not winning, they're winning. No way. No, there's no way was that ever going to happen. Never in a million years was that going to happen. So that's another reason, because they knew as fans, that would have finished a lot of our fans off. If Cristiano Ronaldo would have walked out.
Oh, you're talking about Ronaldo? When you said fan favourite, I thought you meant Peter Schmeichel.
Listen, Schmeichel was a legend. He was a great, best goalkeeper in the world. But no, when it comes to Ronaldo, there's no way I could have.
There's magic in his sperm as well, I'll tell you.
I wouldn't have been able to watch him walk out in a blue shirt. No way. I wouldn't have been able to look at it. It made me sick.
The thing is, it's one of them things as well. Like you saw it with Frank Lampard. When he went to Manchester City from Chelsea, and the way they went about it, how we went to America and then to Manchester City, almost like it's sort of like he's come back for if he'd have just gone from Chelsea to Man City, instantly his hero status at Chelsea would have gone. That's it. See you later. We don't want what to do with you. But the fact that he went to America and then obviously came back, but obviously went to City because it were their pretty much little sister club, weren't it, in America? Yeah. And then because he's done that little move, a bit like, in context, Chris, a bit like what you did with the lad up front that you've got, youngster, that were at Sheffield Wednesday, and then that foreign team bought him, and then all of a sudden you were like, yeah, we'll just bring him to Leicester. Is it George something? It's George Hurst in it, or something like that. Jeff Hurst, lad.
Don't think it is Jeff Hurst, lad. I think it just it's spelt differently.
No, it is. It is. They're related.
Mm-hmm.
Hurst is Hirst, and Hurst, as in Jeff, is Hurst.
Okay, what we'll do, we'll quickly go through the comments anyway, and then we'll start on the match reactions.
Google it now.
I've got Niall Kane here, new on here, just subbed some of your old videos. Great show on Soaps. Thank you very much, Niall. It means a lot that you have subscribed to me today. I was on Ladies in Red just before here, so if you haven't watched it, just give them a watch as well and give them a subscribe. Got Box here as well. Hey there, Box. Brummy's Red here as well. Hey, Brummy Red. We've got Kate here as well. Hey, Kate. That's not very nice.
Are you related there, Dan? I think you must be related to Kate in some fashion, surely.
Yeah. She's the person that occupies the other side of my bed.
Nice.
or my partner, as people like to shorten it to.
Better half.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello, Mrs. Riley. Oh, it's not the right song, Mrs. Riley, isn't it? Can I just say, just in the gap there, George Hurst is the son of former footballer David Hurst.
David Hurst, that's the one.
Jeff Hurst in Wally.
Yeah, they both play football. Hey, carry on, Chris. You'll be in a Hurst.
Nice one, Dan. I like it.
He bodied you there, Chris. We got Fabrizio in the chat. Hey there, Fabrizio. We've got Vincent here as well. Hey there, Vincent. Yes, Bots has said Leicester can bring out a DVD for the 4-2.
It worked for Spurs.
The last time we won the Premier League as well.
When's your arm out? Nothing coming out.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Got Rich here as well. Hey there, Rich.
Can I just say that Dan coming from Burnley would still be a Betamax video?
Betamax. Crikey. How are you going back, Chris?
Yeah, well, that's Burnley for you. In a time warp.
Kate said that's what happens with Burnley, Chris. Always about the bigger team, no matter how crap they play.
Yeah.
Got Gary here as well in the chat. Hey there, Gary. I hope you're well.
How you doing, Gary?
Vincent, of course, for Sky Sports are going to talk about Man United. They're a betting company as well, so you put your money on Man United. Bots has said Sky has been speaking about Leicester for years. They have won the league a few years ago. We've got Hey Luca in the chat. Hey there, Luca. I do hope you're well as well. Got Niall back again, that he enjoyed me on Sophie's channel and loved the content. Thank you very much for the support. It does mean a lot there, Niall. Lovely to have you here on the chat as well. It has been an absolute pleasure. Yep, and they're doing a Frank Lampard debate, as I can see here on the channel. So, yes, big up to you as well there, Luca. So we'll start off with the weekend's game, and we did know that it was 4-2 to Leicester, which Chris has already put on his notepad. What does that say there, the Leicester boys? So I had a couple of questions here planned for the Leicester game, and then we'll do the same with the Atalanta. My first question was, who was Man United's biggest threat in the Leicester squad? I'll start with you first, Chris, because I know you know your squad inside out anyway.
Do I?
I hope so. I hope so.
Guy didn't even know David Earthstone played for his club. Bloody hell.
I knew that, though. I knew that he wasn't Jeff. Come on.
My name's Jeff.
I mean, all joking aside, if you'd have said to me that we were going to beat you, even let alone that it was 4-2, then I would have laughed at you. I did not see that coming in a month of Sundays. And you have the bravado when you're on your own show, when you're doing the prediction show, and you're saying, oh, yeah, you can't predict against your own team. But deep down, I thought you were going to wallop us. Like I say, 30 games we played in the Premier League, and we've beaten you 3 times. It had, you've made the big signings. No way did I think it was going to be that. Didn't think that at all. And especially, I don't think you were as bad personally as people made out, and certainly in the first half. Although you could say Greenwood's goal was probably slightly against the run of play, but what a fantastic goal it was! I've got to say, take my hats off. It was you could have had Peter and Kasper Schmeichel in that goal. They weren't saving that. That was just coming in from nowhere. And then we got a bit of a nice goal as well with Mr. Tielemans, thanks to a Maguire assist. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose the biggest threat to you was Tielemans, because I think he controlled that midfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Tielemans as well was a big threat for Manchester United, and I do think as well another person who I thought was a threat was Johnny Evans coming back, because Johnny Evans controlled that back line, and I think if Johnny Evans did not start for Leicester, the game could have been completely different as well.
I think you've got to look at it and say Evans has been eased back into the squad. That's how Brendan does things. If you're out injured, you'll come on for the odd 30 minutes here, and then you'll extend it, then you might get a full off. Maguire, to be honest with you, I mean, all right, taking aside the fact that, we don't like him because he left, but we're happy with the 80 million, and we joke you're not getting your money back and you've not got your receipt, etc. He should not have played. He was not. You could see he was not match fit from the first moment that first goal went in. From a mistake that he kind of made. He stood there waiting for the ball to come to him. He should not be letting a Leicester player run from wherever he was to get that ball off him. He wasn't. And then, of course, being at Leicester, because it is Leicester, the crowd are all in on his back. It was just, I'm sorry, but Ollie made a big boob there. He just was. And maybe Harry did as well. Maybe Harry should have come up and said, I'm not 100%. And if he did, Ollie still played him, then, that's Ollie's fault.
It started at a bad omen anyway, because the first touch from Harry Maguire put it out for a throw-in. And I remember saying to Maze on the watch-along, I was like, oh, that doesn't bode well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it unfolded. But I'll agree with you, Chris, on that. Definitely, I'm Maisie, the Tielemans. Yeah, Tielemans is a quality player, but I also quite like Iheanacho as well. I think Iheanacho,
with Iheanacho, and just before we get to Iheanacho, Johnny Evans actually came off after 88 minutes because he had a hip problem. It was being weighed down by Ronaldo being in his pocket. Bum. That's the favourite joke on the Leicester channel at the moment. But Iheanacho, we could not understand. He finished last season top goal scorer for Leicester. Mm-hmm. Brendan Rodgers kind of stumbled upon this because of injuries. He stumbled upon this Vardy-Iheanacho partnership, and it worked so well. Vardy became the provider. Iheanacho was the goal scorer. Look at last night. He didn't get a goal. I mean, Daka, for sake, 4 goals. Where the hell did we find this guy? Unbelievable. Iheanacho, even Perez, I mean, oh no, so not Perez. That was the Man Utd game. Iheanacho is the provider. Sorry, when you get 4 in 2 games running, it's hard to keep up as to which game it was. Iheanacho's off the ball play is not. What can I say? It's not appreciated because he does a lot off the ball. He's got some nice touches, and he's not just a goal scorer. And you got to think that Vardy. I keep saying he hasn't got any long left in his legs, but who knows? He goes on, and he will eventually have to become a super sub. And I think when you got Daka and Iheanacho together, the future's bright, the future's blue, as they say.
Yeah, 100%. Because I agree with what you just said there, mate. 100%. Because like I say, that's what I was going to say about Iheanacho. What there's no need for me now because you just said it exactly, and I couldn't have put it any better, mate. He is a really good player, and I do like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he's been given the chance at Leicester. But because everybody was saying like, why isn't Daka starting? We bought Daka. Why isn't he playing? You can't drop Vardy.
No, 100% not. It just seems to be getting better in age, Jamie Vardy.
I said this would probably be his last full season. God, how wrong could I be?
He's just getting even better. Every season I look at him, I think he's just getting an even better player. Considering he's come from a non-league team, coming to the Premier League, winning the Premier League itself, winning the FA Cup. It's something what is so admirable as well. And as well, I want to say hi to Fox's Focus, who is in the chat as well. Big up to you, because he did say your Burnley son's here today.
Adopted.
Dan, who do you think was Man United's biggest threat in that Leicester squad?
I'd have to go with what you said at the back, Johnny Evans. I think obviously it was really strong. You'd expect that as well, being an ex-Red. He's gonna sort of put in that performance. To be honest, there's a lot of Man United fans that said, looking at it now, they shouldn't have got rid of Johnny Evans. They should have kept hold of him. Why they kept hold of Phil Jones? The next big thing. Don't know, what happened there, but he did stand out. I mean, obviously, Chris has said for a while now, a couple. I think it was last season or the season before. It was constantly chop and change at the back. You had right backs playing centre back, left backs playing all over the shop and stuff. With the injuries and things.
We still have to be fair to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got. Is it Pereira still out? Not Pereira. No. Is Pereira back now?
Fafana's out.
Fafana's out. Yeah.
Out. He's getting injured. Who we bought to replace? It's just which 4's going to turn up this week.
The thing is, though, Evans and Soyuncu had a really good season a couple of seasons back as well, because if anything, everyone was saying that's where Soyuncu was going to get his move, because Soyuncu was actually playing probably at the best of his game. That's pretty much like what we see at Burnley with Ben Mee, when he's been alongside people as well. That the other player sort of stands out, with Tarkowski. We've had it with Michael Keane. So I'd have to say Johnny Evans. I thought he was pretty good in that game.
Johnny Evans brings ability to that back four. Even Brendan Rodgers has come out and said that, Soyuncu is better with Evans next to him. He's that calming head. I mean, we got him from West Brom, Johnny Evans. He came, I think, to be honest with you, West Brom turned down, I think it was 20-odd million from Man City for him in January.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
They could have stayed up, and we got him for 3 million at the end of the season. and he came, and we didn't take to him straight away. He wasn't that good, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, wow. But unfortunately, the other experienced head at the back we've got, which is Ryan Bertrand, he's been injured as well. And Soyuncu's had a bad start to the season. He got sent off for Turkey.
Vestergaard has had an injury as well this season.
Vestergaard has. We try not to talk about Vestergaard because he's not playing very well at the moment, so we don't like to talk about him. But yeah, Evans, yeah, he was one of those good buys. He really was an excellent purchase.
Mm-hmm. We've got Old School Gunner here. He has recently subscribed to my channel as well. So hello there to Old School Gunner. He has also said about Man United having a good squad, a strong 11, but they need a proven manager. What's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? For my next question, what I did have, it was what was the downfall in the game for Man United? And for me, I felt like the downfall was taking Matic off, because it felt like once he came off, because he's like a rock in that midfield for me in that game against Leicester. And with him being out and then he got put on for McTominay, who's not like a CDM, it just felt like the team crumbled. And as I've stated all this in the past, you need a good midfield to have a strong squad as well. And if you don't have a good midfield, the team is going to crumble. And that just shown it basically in the game against Leicester, because once he came off, Leicester scored 3 goals. So it just shown a lot for me on how well he did against Leicester. So for me, I felt like that was the proper downfall. Talk, who did you think the downfall was? Because I know you did touch on Sancho a bit on the watch along as well, didn't you? Him coming off.
Yeah, I wanted to see Sancho get moved over to the right hand side, not actually get taken off. I wanted to see. I want to see some balance from left to right in our wide positions, because as we always do, we always focus on that left hand side, and it's becoming rather predictable for teams that come up against us. That what. Is there really? Yeah, all right. Mason can cut in, on his left foot and go bang like he does, but it's not. We can't always rely on that from that left hand side, right hand side. So there has to be some kind of balance on that front. But I agree with you. Yeah, once Matic went off as well, But I mean, again, when we're looking at that though, the damage was already done. To be fair, and I think it was a bit too late for McTominay to really have any kind of authority in the game. So there was a lot of other things that happened in that game which just led to our downfall, and it was embarrassing and shocking and all the other things. But again, like I might probably even said it on the watch along, you can't take anything away from Leicester. Brendan Rodgers, he came with a good plan and stuck to it, and bang, they got the points.
Yeah, Dan, what did you think the downfall was for Man United in that Leicester game?
I think as well, with the games coming pretty thick and fast as well. Obviously, maybe Ollie's already got one mind on the Atalanta fixture. In a way, that's a bit of a cheap shot saying that. But because every game's got to be there to be winnable in the Premier League, no matter who you face. I think obviously it was just one of those days where, in the build up to the game, there were a lot of talk of, Ollie's position, if he doesn't win this, if he does win this, what's the situation? And everything that comes with it, Pogba, people saying that Pogba's coming out and having digs at his own team and stuff, all this stuff that's built up by the media, whether it's true or whether it isn't, it still filters through to the players. It's like someone said to Chris recently, what I think it was a Monday on Chris's channel, said something to do with, there'll be players that check Twitter, they'll type in their own name and look what's being said and things like that. And they may even come across something like Chris's channel, and a Leicester player could be like watching it going, oh, what have they said about my recent performance and things like that. No, nobody knows, we won't know whether they have or they haven't. But sometimes that can also, affect you mentally and things like that. And I think going into the game, the team looks a bit sluggish as well, to be fair. It's almost like they were worked, like, they were pretty overtired and trying to push for something that wasn't. I forgot the word. They were sort of like just trying, but almost like using a second wind before they've even kicked the ball, sort of thing. That's how I felt anyway. It was definitely different to the Man United you usually see, and I think we saw that with the fight back in the second game that we'll mention a bit later on.
Mm-hmm. Chris, what did you think about the downfall? Where do you think that was for Man United?
Do you know what? Got to agree with Luca and a few people in the chat here. The buck stops with the manager. I know, people say when these, 11 players walk across that white line, the manager, has less, influence. Well, he does. He stands on the side of the pitch and he shouts instructions at people. He can make substitutions. A good manager can see that something's not working on the pitch and change it. He can come out at half time, and you see this with Leicester. We've had some dire games this season, but it's always been the first half that's let us down because the manager's gone in at half time and he's done something about it. So, sorry, as much as I like the guy, the downfall for Man United at the moment is your manager. I can't, he's got to take the blame for it. With the squad you have got, you should be up there at the top at the moment. I'm sorry.
Do you not think he's trying too hard to emulate Alex Ferguson as well by sort of reinstating Mark Phelan? Then he's on about, let's bring Rennie Mullenstein back in and things like that. It's all well and good bringing in the same staff that Fergie had, but Fergie's not going to have told them everything. Fergie's got his own little wicked ways of dealing with people. He's got that sort of complete facade.
And Fergie comes out and has veiled criticisms about Ollie. I said at the start of the season that if Manchester United don't win something this season, he's got to go. Last season, you nearly won the Europa League by being shit in the Champions League. Let's be honest with you. Plain and simple, you failed at the Champions League, so you nearly won the Europa League. That. But this season, I can't see you winning anything. But you've got the squad. We should have sat there. We were sat there when you came, but we were scared. I was scared of Man United, thinking, is this going to be the season we've had so far? Is this going to be 3-4-0 to Man United? That's what we should be looking at. And Ollie's done his job. He's come in, he's settled the squad down and got them back to winning and got them all the players back on side. But maybe now his time's come. He hasn't got the tactical knowledge, I don't think. Yes, he did marvellously with Mulder in the Norwegian League. Does that make him an ideal candidate for Man United? You have got the players, but like I've said before, you've got Danny Baker. What the hell's happening with him? Great player. When was the last time he turned out for Man United?
There's that video doing the rounds, isn't there, where Ollie's made a substitution and sort of everyone at bench sort of like pats Danny on shoulders, though, like just grit your teeth and bear it, sort of thing, like. And it must be hard. It must be hard. Knowing the Glazers, though, it'll come to end of season and say, listen, Ollie, you've got sort of a red pill and the blue pill here. We can offer you a 1-year deal, or we can fix that leaky roof. What do you want to do?
Yeah. Listen, I'll tell you what. The glaring, obvious problem at Man United as well at the moment stands out like a sore thumb when it was perfectly highlighted last night in that game. Is the mentality issue. There's the serious lack of a strong winning mentality at United at the moment. Because if you look at what happened last couple of games. Even more so in last night's game, it's the way we started to how we finished. It's like that kind of, the fight or flight, that syndrome. If somebody's bullying, if somebody's like having a go at you, the saying things and all that, you're like, yeah, all right. And, it makes you a bit, you're like, a bit deflated. But as soon as someone starts putting their hands on you and you've got to fight back. You fight back. And that's where we are with Man United. We only fight back when we're actually getting slapped.
What I admired about last night talk was that you did come back. You didn't come back against us, and I watched it. I had it on my other screen last night watching it, and I don't like Ronaldo. I'm not a fan of his, but I love what he does as a person and his donations to charity. Now he helps out, but he just winds me up. He's just got one of those faces. I just want to go up and punch him. I'm sorry, he does.
I think it's because he's got a Man United top on, isn't it?
Oh, that could have something to do with it. Yeah. You know what? The passion that guy had at the end of that game. Hats off to him. He wanted to win that. Where was that? On
exactly
Saturday when you played us.
Exactly, Chris. That's what I'm talking about. The mentality.
I don't get it. It's I always say, well, the real Leicester, stand up, please, because the last two performances were way better than anything else we produced this season. But I have to say the same with Man United. Ronaldo, he turned up last night. He was amazing for you. And that it was the second half. The first half was a bit iffy, but and his passion at the end against Man United, he was walking off. He wasn't even going to applaud your players. And a lot of people have been saying to me that you know what Ronaldo's like. We've seen him for Portugal. If he's not playing, he'll be on the touchline and get, helping out and what have you. But how long can he carry the club?
Well said, Dad. Well said.
Well, I mean, look at it. Look at it this way. We're talking about.
Thank you.
You're talking about a group of like young men here who play football regularly, day in, day out, day in, day out. This is, for me, it's not a question of can they do this or can they do that. Of course they can. They do it every day. They can do what we want them to do on the pitch with the football. But it's a confidence, it's a mentality issue for me. Because to come back like we did last night proves it. Because, like we say, chalk and cheese, wow. It was from one extreme to the other, wasn't it, to be fair? So for me, I think if Ollie can somehow, because the problem we've got here is if somebody keeps telling you, you know what, you were doing really well, you're going to get this, you're going to win, keep going. But you don't win. There's only so many times you can do that when you're in a company, right? But at a club, even in any other kind of workplace where you're supposed to be successful. But and you've had that success before, and it's been there before. You now know the pressure and onus is on you to regain that success, but it ain't coming. It's hard to keep that mentality going. That's down to the manager and down to the coaching staff.
I think you've also taught, you've got to think that because you were successful, and I mean, I admire what Alex Ferguson did. Any guy that doesn't admire what that man did as a manager is on a different planet. He was amazing, absolutely amazing. But because you've had that, it doesn't automatically say that you're going to have that again. Because Liverpool had that before Man United, like I say, 70s and 80s. Yeah, they've won the Champions League since then, obviously, and they've won the league, but they've won it once. I can't see Liverpool. Well, this season might be different, but they've won it once, but they need to win it more than that to get back to being the top side. And it's the same with Man United. You can say you're a big club. What makes you a big club? You can argue, there's four of us here, we'd have four different opinions on that. But, you can't say you're going to get it. It's like the Arsenal fans this season, we haven't got European football. Wow. Coming to the real world, it's been one season,
If anything, that should spur them on to actually have a good season, not having European football. Well, you'd think it'd spur them on to think, right, let's push for what we don't have. Let's get back to being the Arsenal of yesteryear, but they don't. And going back to what Talk said as well, it's a bit like when you're playing Football Manager. Is that what Ollie's like? He's constantly clicking the same button. He's saying the same thing to the players after every win, because eventually they'll just go, "Yeah, you told us that last week." It's not sort of confidence building. You can go around every player and fist bump them and everything and say, "That's it." Cracking result, lads. On to next week, but sometimes it's nice to keep it short. Brian Clough did it. He'd just be like, right, go on, lads, get out there, do your stuff. But that was back then. That's when, without sounding, sexist or like that, back in the day, they used to call it men were men and stuff like that. That's what they used to say, didn't they? But
can't say that these days.
No, I know you can't, Christ. Yeah. As long as that don't get clipped and used against me, that's all right. But yeah, it's one of those where now you've got to. It's all sort of like it's psychological. You've got all this sort of sitting down with the players and making sure they're in the right frame of mind prior to a game. And I understand that sports science has got better and stronger, but also as a manager, you've also got to have that sort of psychological knowledge to know what you're dealing with, how to deal with certain players. And if he's just chucking all them players in one basket and going sort of, well done, come on, let's do that again next week. when it's going to be a different game, because you've got to set up differently for different opposition. If he's just expecting to go out because he's won that game and thought, I'm not going to change the team, I'm not going to change the tactic, I'm not going to change the way we play because we've got a really, really good result, and then it goes and bites you in the arse and you're 2-0 down at half time, and then, all of a sudden it's a bit like, shit, what do I do? Panic change. And, that's got to change. That's got to change. He's got to obviously look at every game.
To be honest with you, Dan, because the argument is, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Quite often Brendan says that he will sit down and look at who he's playing and pick his squad and formation accordingly. Well, yes, players, and I know you change it mid-game, but we beat Man United with a particular formation and a particular squad. We then played 3 days later on a Wednesday afternoon against Moscow, and he kept to the same formation, and he kept to the same squad apart from one injury and Daka for Vardy. That was a bit of a good choice there, Brendan. I'll give you that one. So there's arguments about playing in the settled side and knowing.
Don't get me wrong. I mean,
there's a couple of balls.
We should know that at Burnley. Yeah. We should know that at Burnley, where Dash never changes a bloody thing.
Yeah,
and
there was a ball last night that I forget who it was put through, and it went to absolutely no one because it wasn't Vardy on the pitch; it was Daka. And Daka hadn't made the same move that the guy was expecting Vardy. I just want to bring a point up, if you don't mind, Maisie. Vincent says here, and I don't know how true this is, Ollie watches the game on a tablet. So that means by the time it gets to the tablet, everything is a delayed reaction. So he's not officially watching. That's the one, yeah. Now, I can't believe if that is true. I mean, I can remember when we had Nigel Pearson, he actually got banned to the stands for 2 games. And he was sat up, in the stands, and we won those 2 games. And for the rest of the season, he actually sat in the stands with a radio mic down to a guy in the dugout because he could see the game better. And it's not all about seeing who's on the ball and what they're doing. It's what the players are doing off the ball. Are they running or whatever? Mm-hmm. I can't believe that is true, but you can tell us whether it is or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll go through some of the comments here as well. Luca has said that I have now hit 250 subscribers, so thank you everyone who has.
Well done. That's a nice little market. Yes.
Thank you for everyone who has subscribed to me so far, and please go like and subscribe to my channel as well, and let's go on that road now to 300 subscribers. He has also said my channel is doing bits, so thank you very much for that, Luca.
I didn't understand that comment. That's me being old, I think.
I think it is you being old, Chris. Bits means good. Bits means good.
Right, thank you.
Chris is still used to orange juice with bits. That's what he's at.
Hey. LOL. That's as modern as I get.
Lauren is here as well in the chat. Hello there, Lauren. I hope you're well. And we've also got Football United TV here as well. Hello to you, Football United TV. I hope you're well as well. And we also have got Static here in the chat. Hi there, Static. I hope you're well. So I know there's been a couple of questions here as well. What some people have asked. I'll go to Fox's focus question before I go on to my next question. Question for the panel: if the roles were reversed and Brendan was Man United manager and Ollie was the Leicester manager, would both set of fans be saying the same thing about their clubs? That's a really good question to consider, to be honest, because
hypothetical, though, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, it's an impossible question, that, because your personalities. We're talking about a sport which is all about personalities, especially when you talk about
we won't know how their style of play would work with the players that are in that team and vice versa. So,
yeah.
I think being on the outload, to be honest.
It's an interesting question, but I mean, if we were to answer it, it would be only in a purely hypothetical way, wouldn't it, really? Don't know, you make it that, Chris.
It is one of those, isn't it? But as a question, I don't think we would be as disappointed with Ollie as you are, because our expectations are not as big as yours are. Yes, we won the Premier League 5-6 years ago. Yes, we won the FA Cup, and yes, we finished twice for 2 seasons running, but we're not expecting to be top 4 year in, year out. We're not expecting to be challenging for the Premier League year in, year out. So if we were sat in 6th now with Ollie as our manager, with our squad, then yeah, I don't think we would be moaning as much. But that's just down to the fact that it's the expectations of the club. I mean, what Newcastle fans are expecting now and what their expectations will be in 10 years' time will be 2 completely different things. So,
what I'll add to that, Chris, what I want to add to that, mate, is you're right about the expectation thing, because you took the words right off my lips as though you were saying it. I was agreeing with nodding my head. It's also that how we're playing football. You would not want Leicester playing like we've been playing, would you?
But we have been. Thing is, we have been for up until the last 2 games. What went well against you guys was not going well for the previous 6 games. We couldn't pass the ball to somebody else in blue unless we were playing Man City and they happened to be in blue. We couldn't find that run past 2 or 3 players. We weren't getting to the first ball or the second ball. So yeah, we've had that. It's just kind of it clicked in place against Man United, and it clicked in place eventually against Spartak Moscow. So yeah, we have had that, and we had the seasons under Puel when we it was such boring football, but he still was getting us sort of mid-table. So whilst we were unhappy, we weren't doing protests or things like that against him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll finish off with my final question and then we'll do the match reaction here for Atalanta. Before I do that, I can see Monday is here in the chat, so hello there, Monday. And we've also got Nippon here in the chat as well. I'll send you the link for you as well, Nippon. I'll send that in about 5 minutes or so. I'll finish off with the final question about Leicester. Will they continue their form in the Premier League? Because that'll be a quite interesting question, because I know they have not played the best, and then you don't know, because everything is different in the world of football, and I think Chris's expression has said it all. He wants to hide his face. I'll go to you first, Dan. What do you think? Do you think the form will continue in the Premier League?
I think it has to. Really, from if you were looking at it as a Leicester fan, obviously, you'd want no fan would want you not to continue the form, but obviously, I feel they have to obviously maintain their position and climb the division. The thing is with Leicester this season, you don't know what sort, and I think Chris will back me up with this, that you don't know what sort of Leicester you're going to get from week to week. But I just feel like sometimes you'll catch Jamie Vardy on his day where he'll bang him in for fun, but then you'll get a Jamie Vardy that doesn't even get a shot on target, in certain games. And I only say that because I had a $5 on him a couple of weeks ago for 1 shot on target to double my money, and he didn't. But it was just one of them things. I do think that Leicester will get the usual. They'll still be up and about there, vying in that fifth spot. But yeah, I think it does have to continue if they want to keep momentum going. And I think a result like that against obviously Manchester United will be a great, something to spur them on.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Chris? Do you think the form will continue? I know you want to say yes.
You know what? No, all joking apart, Dan, yeah, he got it right there. You don't know which Leicester's going to turn up this season. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take my blue tinted spectacles off here, and I'll probably get a lot of hate now from my own fans, but not my fans, I should say. Leicester fans. In the last couple of seasons, you could argue that we were punching above our weight. We were in 5th position. We had clubs like Spurs and Arsenal behind us. Everton, who spent a lot of money, were there. What you would normally say would be clubs that should be finishing above us. So maybe we're due a season where reality kind of kicks in a little bit and go, hey, guys, you've got to fight for this if you want to keep it. The last 2 seasons have been off the scale with COVID and everything, as we know. It hasn't been like normal seasons. But what we did have, generally speaking, we didn't have a run of really, not bad games or bad results, but bad performances. And that's what we didn't get. What we got against, whatever the result was, and I said to this with Brad with the post-match, had our game finished 2-2 and we played the way we played, we'd have been happy. Well, I would have been happy because we've got the performance. And even when we'd beaten Wolves and we'd beaten Norwich and we should have beaten Burnley, we weren't putting the performances in that deserved it, if you like. What you got was almost a backlash. Everything clicked. Maddison was back to his best. He was given a slightly different, his favourite role, which is the freedom to move about. We've had the injuries. I'm not blaming injuries because everybody gets injuries, but we've not been able to put our best team out. Had we got that 4-2, let's say against Newcastle or somebody like that, we'd have said, yeah, it's a win, great. Well, it might be the fact that it's against Man United, and this is a compliment to you guys, the fact that we did it against Man United should be the spur to take us on. And the big decision on that as to whether it would or not was last night's game. Because had we gone to Moscow, which is a horrible place to go, it was actually snowing last night, 2-0 down, and you're thinking, okay, Man United was the one-off. And then Daka decides that he fancies a goal or four. And, and the fact that we got that result, I think, shows that maybe it is the start. Maybe that Man United is where the line was drawn in the sand and it does kickstart the rest of our season. Obviously, I hope so. We've got a tough game coming up against Brentford. But, yeah, last night was the tell-all. And I think with the performance we had last night, and I'm just, to be honest with you, counting down the months until you come in and try and buy Daka off us, Maisie.
How much are you going to be charging Daka? 400 million? Or... Probably.
Well, you'd probably come in then and offer 70,
Do you think Leicester will continue their form in the league?
You know what? We've got to look at this in a different kind of way because we were talking earlier about, expectation. And I think from Brendan Rodgers' point of view, it is about expectation and managing the expectation because you have to have something to, for the boys to aim for, something like a challenge. There has to be that involved. So I think if Brendan, I think he's a clever enough manager to do that. And also the fact that, listen, Leicester are a pretty settled club, aren't they? To have that right as well. You've got good owners, you've got a good squad. The manager's already said he's committed, he's staying. So I believe, I think they've got everything going for them to continue this. And I suppose from my point of view here, and maybe Chris will agree, is the expectation and the goal here will be, listen, we've come so close to top four. Let's make this the season for top four. Is that such a big expectation for the players? I don't think so.
I think it is this season because I think the top four is decided. Maybe Man United are making me maybe wonder that. But what you've also got to realise, and that's no disrespect, just on your performances, but I think the top four is going to be, in no particular order, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, Man United, and unfortunately, I think that is done. What we've also got to take into account is that the last few years, we've been added onto that because we were in the top four every week bar the last week, which happens to be the most important one. But what you've got this year is you've got West Ham attempting to do it for a second year. Everton, they've got the players, they've now got the manager to go with it as well. And so they're going to be challenging. So it's actually not just us that's after that 5th and 6th position. There's a lot of other teams that can possibly do it as well this season.
Chris, that's what you just said there is a key, exactly what I was going to point out and what I was alluding to was realistically, you're looking at this, Brendan Rodgers is looking at this and thinking, top 6. But in order to gain top 6, you really must be looking to gain top 4 to push you on. Because if you're looking at finishing top 6, then you're not really pushing you. You want to be sort of giving that a little bit more than everybody else who's fighting for that number 6. I'm
not saying we wouldn't be pushing for it. I just don't think it's achievable.
Well, I mean,
that's two different things. We can't go out and pay £100 million for a player. We can't go out and attract a Ronaldo. Yes, we can do more than Norwich can, and yes, we can do more than the West Broms can, and no disrespect to Dan, more than the Burnley can. But we're not in that top bit yet. We can't compete financially, and this is what Mike Ashley said at Newcastle. As rich as he was, he couldn't compete with those 4 teams. And if you look at it, since we've won the league, you guys have made sure that it's not going to happen again. It's not going to go out of that so-called top 4, because you've gone out and spent billions and billions, and we can't.
The biggest cup Newcastle are going to win is the one that comes free with something you order from Sports Direct, that big giant bugger that comes.
I used to have a couple of them. I used to love those giant mugs. That's why I like you, Dan.
I tell you what, they're dangerous though, because you will sup. I nearly overdosed on coffee using them mugs. Let me tell you that.
So you are supposed to have water. You are supposed to have water. Don't just eat the granules out of a big cup like that.
Hey, no, Dan, pure cafetiere, mate. Cafetiere.
I think the thing to remember is that, like I said, at the end of the day, if Leicester was to finish 7th, 8th, and do well in the Europa League, I would be happy. Because, I'd love to be 5th or 6th again. I'd love to win the Europa League. I'd love to win another cup or be in the top 4. But
I'd just be happy to be away from the bottom 6.
Expectations, Dan.
That's expectations, that's for sure.
Chris, this could be a case of that you're managing your own expectation, because I bet if you asked Brendan Rodgers and the team, would they go for what you've just said? They would say definitely not. They would be aiming way higher than that. So I understand where you're coming from, though, because I'm
60 this year. Well, I was 60, and I've supported Leicester a long, long time. And what comes with that is the fact that don't build your expectations up with Leicester, because you're going to be disappointed. It's happened so many times. We've been down in the 3rd tier. We've come so close. We were in the FA Cup 4 times without winning it. You've got, this is Leicester, and I don't want to be great if we do it. I mean, I never thought we'd win the Premier League until that second goal went in from Hazard that night. I just thought we're Leicester, we'd cock it up. But it is just, I'm happy with. I'd love to be top 4, but I just honestly don't think it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I've got Road to Red Devils here in the chat as well. Hello there, Road to Red Devils. I hope you're well. And I do have a Liverpool fan here saying Van Dijk GOAT is coming soon. We'll be doing Sue to you when Ronaldo scores. Let me tell you that one. We'll go now to our next match reaction, which was Man United versus Atalanta. We won 3-2. And let me tell you something. It was like Heart Attack FC after last night. After the first half, you know what? I was literally thinking in my head, if I want this game to turn off right now, I was so wound up. I was so annoyed.
Really? You kept it quiet on the stream. I would never have noticed.
I'm just a very subtle girl. Do you get what I mean?
Really?
But they turned it round. Ronaldo, I actually think Fred as well had a terrific game for Manchester United, and not enough recognition has been said. What are we wiping your eyes at here, Dan?
just Fred having a good game.
Fred is actually, for me, he hasn't been that bad this season. He has had them couple of games where he hasn't been the best, but I think he's improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he bought under Jose Mourinho when he wasn't there for me. But I felt like Ole, he gave him that chance more when Pogba got injured before lockdown with Scott McTominay, and that's when it started to work. It worked then. And then I think when the more time went on, that's when we realised no to McFred. We don't want McFred. But when he does play good, he does play good. And I just feel like, for me, he doesn't get that enough recognition in my eyes. Rashford as well, he was very good and he's been looking very sharp. So I hope as well, after that game, he doesn't get injured, because I know he did. Someone did pull him down from Atalanta. So I'm hoping it's nothing too serious and he isn't that injured. We'll go about the first question I had. What changed for Man United in the second half? And I go for you first, Talk.
It's just listen, we did pick the tempo up, which obviously we needed to do. And you know what? There's been a debate all day as to, was it individual players taking it upon themselves? Because we did have players kind of, Cristiano Ronaldo was going from left to right to the centre, drifting all over the gaff. But it was mainly the tempo, because, like I said last night on the match reaction, the first half it was like, welcome to Serie A. Second half it was welcome to the Premier League, because we were playing into their hands in that first half with the tempo. We were just like mannequins. It was just shocking to see. It was quite bizarre, in fact, when I was watching them, thinking, surely this isn't happening. This is like it was like a training match. It was like a training match where the coaches were on the sideline saying, right, hold your shape. Don't even go anywhere near the ball. Just hold your shape. Hold. Like Braveheart. Hold. And honestly, it was just totally bizarre. And but yeah, like I said, second half, something, somebody put a fire under their bums, whether it was themselves or Ollie, and they came out, and I think it was the fear of going out and and having to play in the Europa League once more, which must have been a hairdryer on the top setting. Yes, and
I think it was the hairdryer from Ronaldo and Bruno, to be honest. Because we've seen how frustrated the pair of them was coming off after the first half, and you can tell Ronaldo is so passionate on the pitch as well as Bruno, and I feel like they was that kind of bit of inspiration in the dressing room. And I felt like when Cavani and Bruno Pogba both came on, that made the difference as well, in my opinion.
Maybe they just turned around and changing room at half time and said, "Pretend you're Portuguese, you'll play all right."
It does beg the question, like you said there, looking at the way that Ronaldo was, like, who is taking the half-time team talk? I mean, a Man United fan said to me on Rich's show the other day that Ollie can do at the hairdryer treatment, and I can't imagine him doing that. But
no,
I mean, if you've got Ronaldo going in and giving the team talk and what have you, I don't know, player manager next season, possibly. Who knows?
He's definitely got the credentials of a manager. I mean, you see him at international level, when he's been off the pitch.
Yeah.
He's sort of like, you've got the manager stood there like that, and he's like, get into that channel, run into that space sort of thing. I think, if it's going to work for any ex-player that's going to be a manager, it's going to work for Ronaldo, because his passion's there.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I would say, watching your stream last night, you went from say being an Arsenal channel to being
to being like via Ronaldo, Sue, and all that. Is that what it was like?
Yeah, and you'd gone from at one point you were bottom of the group to finishing the game top of the group. Mm-hmm. I think for me, one of the things that sort of changed was like Rashford found the net, because in the first half, from what I saw, and it was only odd, I wasn't, watching it intently, he was having trouble sort of hitting the target.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I've got a comment here from Niall about a watch along. The watch along, there will be a watch along going on, and that will be on Man United agenda. They do watch along, so if you do want to watch a watch along for the Liverpool game, tune into Man United agenda. They'll do all the watch along. So
watch along.
I watch along, yes. And sometimes I do go on there as well, so you get to catch me on there. It is on the featured channel, so if you do want to have a look at Man United agenda, you can find them on there too. Dan, what do you think changed for that second half for Man United?
Scoreline.
The scoreline, obviously.
Dan says it as it is.
I'll give you that one, Mr. Dan.
honest to God, I think, to be fair, just the performance.
I got the ringing, wanting to know if you're available for Saturday night.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. If it means Robbie Savage gets scrapped and all that crap, I'll take it.
Oh, God, he was gushing last night. My God. He was like, I mean, he never played for Man United apart from the youth team or whatever, but my God,
Exactly.
he was up your backside last night. He really was.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think the only thing that changed really in that second half was that everyone rallied round, everyone got together. It was almost like this sort of, I don't know, you know, when you see in films where they all huddle round and they all sort of just, they had that bit of togetherness, and you could see it when they came out. You know, there was a sense of urgency to get back in the game straight away, pretty much. It was almost like every time the camera panned around to Atalanta, they're almost like, oh shit, we've actually got a game on our hands here. So, you know, Chris clearly doesn't like us talking about Man United.
He's back again, guys. Chris is back in the house.
I think that goal that sort of leans into what I was saying about the mentality side of things, Dan. You know, the fighting, because then, you know, it was they had to fight. They had to go out there, because otherwise they were going to go out with not go out, but more or less would have been very difficult. You know, with a whimper, and with the likes of Ronaldo in the squad and Varane and Sancho and, you know, others, to name a few, it just, that couldn't have happened. And for me, like I say, I don't know. I'd like to think it was Ole and whatever he said, but we'll suppose we won't find that out until there's a change in personnel. Then maybe we may hear rumours.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It'll have been something really shitty with Ole. There's been some. We're Man United. We're not Carlisle United. Let's go for it, boys. Let's go.
Chris, what do you think changed for Man United?
I honestly think it was probably somebody like Ronaldo going in there at half time and doing the talk, because he was fired up in that second half, you know, and whether that's a good thing, you want somebody to do that. Was Maguire playing last night?
He was playing last night, yes.
So surely that should be his job as manager, as captain, to do that. I don't know.
Could you imagine Ronaldo doing like the old Neil Warnock in Portuguese? You've got to fucking die for 3 points. You've got to.
Yeah, can you imagine it? Portuguese Neil Warnock. Wow.
Oh God.
I actually quite like Neil Warnock though, actually, because I find him very interesting when you hear him talk about football.
When he talks, when he's not managing the team, he
talks
is
a great game.
He's good, yeah. But so was Holloway, but as a manager, he was rubbish.
Yeah.
Nippon had a question here about who would you like to see in the final 16 of the Champions League, and to be honest, I've got to see Man United in the final 16. I would be bad to say that I wouldn't want to see my own club in the final 16, and Tart will obviously agree with me on that as well. And
just Man United for me.
Just Man United. If Man United goes all the way, I'm absolutely thrilled with that. And what about you, Dan, Chris? What team would you want to see the most in that final 16?
For me, I don't really give a damn, because we're not there, so I don't care. If you tell me who's in there, I might be able to give you an answer. I don't even know who's playing in the Champions League, because, you know, apart from obviously the English teams, because we're not in it, so I don't follow it, you know. So I couldn't name it. Personally, on a personal note, I'd just like to see the English teams do well, because I'm not one of these that I want to see English teams fail because they're not, you know, Leicester City. Apart from probably Nottingham Forest, I'd have to take that. But everybody else, I'd like to see the English teams do well. But apart from that, I've no idea. And I'm just crying at the moment because Napoli are winning 2-0.
What about you, Dan? Who would you want to see the most in the Champions League?
Obviously, you've got to, like Chris said, you've got to obviously sort of have some sort of affiliation for English sides. But taking that away from it all, I've got to go for the Spanish Burnley, Atletico Madrid. Are
they doing that badly?
They just set up defensively, and you know it speaks volumes when Klopp comes out and says basically you've got to play these games against the dirty sides and stuff. as we like to call, even though we hold the record for the team with the, with not having a red card in so long. But dirty rugby team, doesn't cut the grass. Do hope to save money around Burnley, don't we?
Hey, 17 fouls Man United committed against us in that game. I'll let you know
that. Nathan is here in the chat. Hey there, Nathan. I hope you're well. Nyla said he's finished watching some of my old content and gave it a like. Thank you very much for the support. It does mean so much. Thank you. And Luca has said, Man United second half, I thought the subs changed it, Ollie's tactics. I'll finish off with the final question. I know a lot of people have been thinking the exact same as me, and that was, should Cavani be starting more in games for Man United? And for me, with Cavani, he's one of them players where he's like a hungry wolf every time he is on that pitch. He's like, I want this ball, and I'm going to win it regardless of what is happening. He just literally presses on defenders constantly, and you do want that as a lot as a player, as a striker like Cavani, because Ronaldo is not that much of a presser as a striker, and that's why I would prefer him either with Cavani alongside each other in a front two, or Ronaldo on the wings. I feel like that might be a bit more beneficial, and having them both on the pitch would be absolutely influential, and I would love that against the Liverpool game on Sunday. For me, I just absolutely love Cavani. He's just a beautiful, beautiful man. That's all I can say. Beautiful, beautiful man.
You know what? I was watching him last night when they were about to bring him on as a substitute. How long does it take a male footballer to sort his hair out?
Not very long.
It must have been over 5 minutes. He was messing about trying to get his hairband on and get his hair into position. Now, I'm not saying Man United players are prima donnas at all. They don't, presume this. But, he was making himself beautiful for the cameras, wasn't he?
What's wrong with just headband on, playing a flat back four, headband on, away you go.
Because he's got hair.
That's why he looks good in my eyes. He just looks very good.
Hey, me and Chris are following the trend here. You've got Jason Statham, Dwayne Johnson, Ian Dowie, Chris, me. Sort of goes down a bit from after you get to the top of all people. Bruce Willis, Vin Diesel, just a couple of bold sex icons there.
Honestly, put us together, and we look like we need a bra.
Kate said it takes you longer than 5 minutes to do your hair. Is that true?
Does it, balls?
It takes you 5 minutes to do your balls, does it? Bloody hell, what do you do? Give it a centre parting.
The only hair is there on the shed. That's it.
I'm just combing. I won't be a moment. Got the hairspray there.
Are you like, Kate, can you bring me a plaster? I think I went a bit too far.
Just a small plaster.
Talk, do you think Cavani should be starting more in Premier League games?
How did we get on that?
Yeah.
Because
I agree with you. I think, we've got two lethal strikers there. We should be using them both, to be honest. I'd love to see Ollie try a 4-4-2 in some form or another, whether it be diamond or flat, whatever. But I think he should. I think he should try and use them both. And if not, rotate. Give Ronaldo a half. Give Cavani a half. But it's managing
Which one
Cristiano
would you start
Ronaldo.
with then if you was going to rotate it? One's first, one's second half. Which one would you do?
It doesn't matter. I mean, either or. To be honest, to me, I wouldn't be too fussed. I'd be happy with either. If I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say Cavani first, and then bring Ronaldo on in case that to try and G up the team the second half. But I think obviously the first time Ronaldo was at your place, he was more of utilised as a right winger, wasn't he? And as you said earlier, if you start Cavani up front, why not put him out on the wings? And you've sort of still got that attacking intent, but you've also got a decent striker that's in there, in and around the box, that is also there for the odd touch and tapping. So can't be bad, can it?
Mm-hmm. Chris, who do you think Cavani should be starting more?
Do I care?
Of course you care. Well, it's a bit competition in it, and we know that Cavani will probably score.
I don't know if whoever's on form. You know, I mean, as I've always said, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. If you can play them both together, and Ronaldo, and he seemed to be able to yesterday, you know, in the second half, then yes, he should. And if when he comes, the problem is you've got, and I don't follow United obviously on the matches when players come on and off and what have you, but sometimes a player can have more impact coming on later than starting the game. And you know, with Lookman, for example, when he came on for in a couple of subs games, he was amazing, but he was up against the tired defense, and he was just going for it. When he started, he wasn't quite as effective. It's I don't know. I mean, I would ask, should not Danny Beck be starting more games?
Should he?
From what I'm reading, a lot of Man United fans think he should.
Okay. Right. What we'll have to do, what we'll do, what we'll just, you know, doing some gymnastics and stuff, you get what I mean? What we'll do, we'll finish up this stream. So we'll shout out everybody's socials. Talk, where can we find you?
In the fridge.
Oh, there you go. Trying to get my mouse to work. That's what I was doing there. It's like goes to sleep on me. It's really awful. Yeah, Chris, I'm always the fridge is a part of me, so it's always near me. But no, yeah, you can find me usual place, Twitter, iTalkMU, the Man United Agenda, Football United TV, and on your channel. Thank you for having me. It's
been a pleasure. Chris, where can we find you?
Leicester till I die.
Sat in that chair, never moves.
It's a very comfy chair, and I'll have you know it does have a massage mode, so I don't need to move. You know? So I always sit here with a smile on my face. Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and at Leicester TID on Twitter. And guys, make sure you give this channel a like and a follow. Maisie's really, really good. Does a lot. She's she knows her stuff. Make sure you give her a support.
Oh, thank you very much, Chris, and thanks for coming on. Dan, where can we find you?
Anywhere you want. Seriously, my GP location's on my phone, so if you come across me, I'll be there. Obviously at Turf Morehouse on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, and Spotify, which I still haven't. So sorry, Christopher.
You so do.
But the thing is, though, I agree with what Chris is. I agree with what Chris said. Do obviously, follow Maisie's channel, and again, congrats on 250 subs. Woohoo!
Thank you so much. So you can find me here. I'll be next doing a stream on Tuesday. I'll be doing a watch along for the England women game because they are playing against Latvia. So give that a watch. Go and like and subscribe. This channel for this month is going to be a breast cancer awareness month. If you do want to donate to breast cancer now, you can find that in the description. But until Tuesday, and let's remove that 4-2. I will
see you Liverpool on Sunday. Come on, Liverpool.
Until then, I will see you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Ciao. Thank you.
Cheers, brother.